Welcome back to On the Branch, where John is getting ambushed by not zombies in not Resident Evil.
Did I just die? No, I didn't just die. Okay. I'm going to have to use the healthy items, though.
Because ambush is what this game does.
That wasn't so much of an ambush as a surprise, which there's a difference.
Yeah, admittedly, this is not so much an ambush because you can see the enemies.
We saw them coming. Okay, good.
Ambush wasn't, I guess, the right word. The word I was looking for was bum rush.
There we go.
You are getting bum rush.
They definitely look like bums, don't they?
This game does two things, and it is ambushes and bum rushes.
And not much else.
Not much else.
Also, it needs to hand me out some more ammo and some more health. Jeez, getting stingy. I'm not good at this game. I was good at this game in 2005, not 2018. Yeah, that's the year. Oh, okay, good. He missed.
You totally did not shoot the axe while it was in the air.
No, I didn't. No, he just... Did I hit the axe while it was in the air?
No, you did not.
Oh, okay, because that's the thing you can do in this game. I'm just not that good with the controls yet.
Does it, like, knock it back at them and damage the enemy, too?
No.
Because it seems like a shame to waste a bullet and not deal damage to the enemy.
Those headshots are pretty brutal, aren't they? I always thought that when the game came out. I mean, it was supposed to be like an edgy, hardcore game. I felt uncomfortable playing this at home because I still lived with my parents at the
until
time.
Midget Napoleon shows up and...
And then my dad was like, what is this game that you're playing when you should be like studying for that college thing you go to?
Yep.
Maybe that's also part of why I like this game. Is you guys want to come through the door? It brings back a lot of memories of when I first played it, which is when I started dating Jamie all those years ago. So, you know, wow.
So it was a good time in your life.
Yeah. Wow. I guess I never quite realized fully that me and you's relationship with this game is older than our relationships as friends. I mean, I guess that's true of a lot of games. It's just, I don't know, the most modern game I can think of that fills that.
Jeez, John, way to make me feel old.
Because you and I met in 2007, 2008, somewhere in there.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, me, you, and Jamie, and then did you dislike Jamie, or was it just our friend Anthony that really didn't like Jamie at first?
Jamie did not make a very good first impression.
With you either, or just with...
Yeah, with me either.
Okay, yeah, because it was that first, when was it? It was right before or right after the Star Trek convention, and we all went out to, like, de-stress and unwind, and Jamie was having a bad time.
Well, it was also, like, you guys came over to visit at my parents' house, like, for the first time, and, like, Jamie just kind of, like, plopped her face down in the ottoman and just, like, sat there for, like, 30 minutes.
Oh yeah, that's
like
when she was like working two jobs.
Not wanting to interact or socialize with anyone at all, and it was just incredibly awkward.
Yeah,
like
I remember
as
that.
the host to be like, "Can I get you something? Like, do you need like an aspirin or something?"
We got 2 flat tires that night. Did you know about that? Did you hear about that?
I don't recall.
Okay, so no, the afterwards on the way home. Because she wanted to leave, like, super early because of that.
Yeah, she was like, not in a good mood, and she made just the entire hangout just feel awkward and uncomfortable. Like, it was clear she did not want to be there, and I wasn't sure if that was, like, because she didn't like me or what. I just assumed it was because she didn't like me, because at, you know, that time in my life, I just assumed everybody didn't like me.
Oh, okay. And to be honest, you come off pretty strong, and sometimes people don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to live with the fact that there are good people out there that you're just not going to get along with.
Yeah, it happens.
Like, I mean, one of my, like, newest person in my close friends group, I mean, you know Kate, she doesn't really like you. And part of that is probably just a couple bad first impressions like Jamie made. So, like, now I have to decide, do I make you two spend some time with each other, and then, like, you decide you really hate each other, or... actually like each other?
I'm not going to really hate anyone.
But I mean, like, I'm in that conundrum of, well, like, do I invite these two people that don't like each other?
If the other person doesn't want me around, then don't. But I don't have any objection to to interacting with people.
Because I've been in the other situation where it's like I just don't want to hang out with this person, and it feels like someone thinks they can make me, and
I know at least one of the people that you're talking about.
Yeah, and after a certain point, like and so like I have to straddle that sometimes, and I don't mean just in like this specific case we're talking about. I mean in general, we've all been there, right? Oh, hi.
I'm not gonna really hate anyone. I mean, a person would have to do a lot to make me hate them and not want to interact with them at all.
I'm dead. He just killed me. I'm dead. We have to like start over. Well, they must really hate me because they killed me.
But I complain a lot, and that turns people off.
Yeah, that could be it.
Quite easily.
Is you do tend to say like everything that's like a minor annoyance to you like is known because and I know because I've known you forever, right? And part of why you and I get along is because I don't know. Well, okay, one thing for you, if you've noticed, every person that's ever worked with you tends to like you unless they're an asshole that nobody likes. Have you noticed that? And I think there's a barrier to getting to know you, and it's similar with me. People have to do this with me as well, where you just have to get to know the person's quirks to realize, like, oh, they're not trying to be an asshole.
Well,
this is just how they communicate.
For me, it's coming from a place of trying to be constructive.
Right.
I like to point out flaws in things because I want things to be better than they are.
Yeah. Right, and most people see that as just you complaining, saying this sucks, as opposed to, I would like to see this improved via blank.
It comes off as cynical, but like, I see it as it's almost optimistic.
Yes.
Right? It's this thing can be better, this thing should be better, let's make it better,
Maybe
the first step to solving a problem is noticing that there is a problem and acknowledging it as a problem.
All right, oh cool. He's not going to blow me up.
But I can also be very snobbish as well. And that turns people off.
Oh yeah, not as bad as some people we know.
But again, it comes from a place of wanting to be constructive, right? Because usually when I'm snobbish about something, it's in comparison to something that is similar but better. And it's like,
or just something that could be better that you really wish they would do better. Like a good example might be like, you might not like iPhones because like you have qualms with Apple or whatever.
Yeah,
but, like
I'm not
my
a fan
biggest
of Apple.
complaint with iPhones is just they don't have the quality of construction that they used to, like on any of their products.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a complaint that I'll make now frequently, even understanding like, well, okay, they have this ecosystem that if you're in it is like really convenient to have everything line up together. Like every Apple fan just won't shut up about iMessage if you've noticed. And
I don't notice because I don't interact with too many Apple users.
It's sort of like with the computers and how like it used to be. Oh, I did you see? I shot the axe.
Well done.
Yeah, it used to be. It was the only way to use Photoshop and Premiere. Like if you were video editing or photo editing, you wanted to do it on a Mac. And today, like that's not the case. And that would be a good example. But like I want them fix your hardware. Stop making garbage keyboards and stop making, stuff that's not really built to last and breaks easily.
I have high expectations for quality.
Yeah, especially when you're paying, like, because you're still paying premium price when you buy an Apple product. And this is just like
especially when I notice that something seems to be in decline. Like for example, an entertainment property or video games, movies.
I screwed up. I'm dead again.
You make an entry in a video game or a TV or a movie series that I love, and it's not up to snuff. I am going to make you aware of that.
Yeah.
Because I have high expectations.
Right, yeah. Like, I hate when sequels are not as good as why did you make the sequel if it's not going to be as good as the first one? Like, why are you wasting all of our time? Just...
Right. And it's the cynical nature of the businesses that bothers me. Like I'm going to complain about something like Star Trek Into Darkness because it's a movie that should not have been made.
Yeah.
Like the conditions in which that movie was made are not conducive to making a good movie.
No, they're not. And in
but
fact,
they made
everyone
it anyway.
that worked on it will tell you that.
Right, but they made it anyway because of contractual obligations and because they wanted to ride
Make
the cash
money,
cow. The
Yeah.
cash cow. And
Ride
that's
a
not
cash cow.
that's not the way to make something. Don't make, cheap cop-outs. Have some integrity. Have some professional pride in the work that you do.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think we're getting complaints, but like, if you and I were to go to a party and have this discussion in front of someone
People
we've never met, they would think we're assholes.
Snob.
Yeah. They would think, oh, you just don't like movie, like you just like to be snobbish about movies.
And I don't like a lot of modern movies because a lot of modern movies aren't very good. And pretty much any movie critic will tell you that.
Yeah.
Like, because
I think when it comes to movies, our taste, both of ours, is so close to like.
I don't think there's any denying that most movies now are more a commercial product than an actual like artistic endeavor.
Yeah, I mean, with exceptions, like you get a real or a really good director will make it a good movie despite the fact that it's
a really good director
like
can
James
elevate
Gunn.
the material.
James Gunn can make a commercial product into a good piece of art.
Right, like a great example is Logan.
Yeah.
Logan was just phenomenal.
Example.
I mean,
I would even argue like I said James Gunn because I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie so much. It's the best space opera since Fifth Element in my opinion.
The sequel was probably the first the first sequel that Marvel really nailed.
I didn't like it as much.
You didn't like Guardians 2?
I liked it. I just liked it about as much as the first, and I was hoping for something to like.
Oh, I thought Guardians 2 like fixed almost every problem that Marvel had with sequels up to that point.
A lot of them, like it wasn't a lot of them, but not all of them. I guess it felt like a sequel.
But anyway, when I talk about something like elevating the material, a good example would be you look at something like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the movie, and it sucked, and the villains were crap, and the main bad guy, Electro's motivation for becoming a supervillain essentially came down to Spider-Man didn't come to my birthday party. So now I have to kill...
So the Maleficent...
So now I have to kill him. And, like, that's something I'll complain about, and people are like, oh, well, Electro's always been a stupid villain. Like, what do you expect them to do? And I say, well...
make them a good villain.
Well, yeah, elevate the material. And the example that I'll point to is the Batman animated series, which took Mr. Freeze, who in the original Batman comic books and the 60s TV show was just a bank robber with a freeze ray.
Yeah, and made him something incredible.
And they gave him a tragic and compelling backstory for the animated series that was so popular that DC Comics retconned that to be the character's backstory.
Yeah, and it was, oh my goodness.
That backstory about his wife dying of a disease and him freezing her until he could find a cure, that was invented by the people who wrote Batman the Animated Series. That character had been around since the 1940s.
I think that's like an unfair standard to hold something to. Like, Batman the Animated Series is one of those things that is so good that it's almost impossible to match.
But it's the same argument. Mr. Freeze, like Electro in Spider-Man 2, was a shit villain.
Right.
But the writers elevated the material. They didn't just throw their hands up in the air and say, well, this is a shit villain, we can't do anything with it.
Yeah, and if you couldn't do anything with him, then don't make him the villain.
Then don't make him the villain, or don't make the movie.
Have you seen Mysterio as a villain yet in
the
movie?
Or better yet, put him in the movie as a villain, but don't make the movie about him as a villain. Just make him like a roadblock for the hero, and the whole movie is about the hero overcoming some personal issue, and halfway through the movie, he just happens to fight this supervillain, and he beats him, and that's part of the hero's arc, but we don't care about the villain's backstory or anything like that. He's, just make it incidental.